Hey, what's going on, everyone? I am back for another Slim Sports interview, and as always, I'm your host, Jay Slim. And joining me today is a 6'1" defensive end from the Tulane Green Wave that knows how to get into the backfield and sack the quarterback just like the NFL pros do. I'm talking about Adin Huntington. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, Jay? How you doing?
Doing great, man. Beyond happy to have you on. You've had a great career so far, wrapped up your collegiate career, now getting ready to head off to the pros. Hoping to hear your name called on draft night for the 2025 NFL draft. And you've had a lot of accomplishments, a lot of accolades to your name during your college career. And I want to let viewers know about some of them in a segment that I like to call Rewind and Recap. In this segment, I just rewind the clock, tell the audience exactly how awesome you are, and starting off 2023, uh, you had a breakout season, ended up getting a bunch of sacks during your time at Louisiana Monroe, and earned yourself all Sun Belt second team honors in 2023. And a year later in 2024, you're in the American Conference playing for a Tulane team that was nationally ranked, and you earned all Sun Belt third team honors as well. So back to back all conference years for yourself. CFN actually took notice of your numbers and what you were doing for Tulane. You were the AAC Newcomer of the Year by CFN, and you led Tulane to a conference championship game and a bowl game in the Gasparilla Bowl this past season. So a lot of accomplishments, a lot of winning and success for you and Tulane. Tulane is known for being a winning program, one of those non-Power Five teams that is always having success, always having winning seasons. And they've had 11 plus wins in each of the past 3 years. As someone that's played in their system this past year, how would you describe their culture and what makes them so good at what they do?
Right. I think it's just an accumulation of good talent. Um, guys that are hungry to win, hungry to be successful, and it just comes together and we work together to make that happen. So we just are a good, athletic, a hardworking, high level team.
Yeah, and that obviously led you guys to a 9-5 overall, or actually, no, that is not right. I misread my notes there. Anyways, you guys ended up making it to a conference championship game as well as the Gasparilla Bowl. So
Right.
that's all that matters there. So that's my bad for that. But your skill set developed long before your time with Tulane. Ended up spending time at Kent State your first couple of years, a year at Louisiana Monroe, where at Louisiana Monroe you had 8.5 sacks in a breakout season for yourself. How would you say your skill set, your style of play that you had developed at your previous spots translate right away into the Green Wave system?
Mhm. Well, it kind of was a mix of everything. When I was at Kent State, I played a little bit of everything from nose, three technique, two technique, five technique. And then when I went to UL Monroe, that's when everything kind of expanded. I was able to showcase a lot more with my talent and what I was able to do playing a lot more three technique and five technique. But when I went to Tulane, I kind of was put in a new position. I was playing a little bit more four technique to five technique in the middle of the season. I got changed to outside linebacker. So I was playing a lot more nine technique. I was dropping a lot more. So really, I just kind of took my adaptability and being able to, be coachable, learn a new position and, embrace that challenge. And then I was able to succeed just doing that in a new position this year. So
And with your athleticism, you're able to adjust pretty easily, I would think, as far as the physicality wise. Obviously, you got to learn the different techniques and all that, moving
right.
to linebacker, defensive end. I know you played interior lineman a little bit during your career as well. How would you describe your style of play overall, no matter what position you're at, as far as your strengths and the skill set that you have that makes you so high caliber of a player?
Right. I just think, first I'm a high level athlete. If it's in the off season, I try to run with the skill guys and I try to lift with the big guys so I could get fast like those guys and I could get strong like the bigger guys on the team. And just overall when I'm just playing, I just play with a high level and effort. You just know a tenacity, chasing down the ball from the backside. I want to be the guy that's running past linebackers and safeties to get the ball. And, just just allowing my play strength to take over when it's needed. My technique is secondhand, so just playing with my technique first and allowing my athleticism to take over is one thing I try to do.
Yeah, and that athleticism and all the skill sets that you've developed over the past few years is why you're such a high caliber player, and high caliber players make high caliber plays. And I want to talk about some of those plays in a segment that I like to call "Make That Play." It's pretty self-explanatory, nice little highlight reel that shows off some of your best plays that I looked at. I looked at some of the games throughout the past season on YouTube, Twitter, and so on. Um, and I put together a list of my top three that saw uh, from this past season for yourself. But obviously, you're the guy on the field, you're the guy
Right.
making plays. What was your top play from this past season?
I'll say my top play would be, I'll say the sack from the Rice game, 2 minute drill. They driving down the field. I think we kind of started the game a little slow. I think the score is probably 7-3. I think it was 7-10, or I think it was a close score, and they were driving 2 minute. I think about 30 something seconds left. Third and 8. I just knew, hey, third down, 2 minute drill. They're going to be trying to get the ball out. Got to know where the sticks are. So, I just get a good rush. I try to anticipate the snap, get a good jump on the snap. I was able to work the offensive lineman's hands, bend the corner and get a strip sack, and then that kind of derailed their 2 minute drive, and then we were able to go into halftime with the lead.
Yeah, I actually have that on my list as well. I have that at number two because number one, I had to put the sack against Florida because you just
Yeah,
came in guns blazing. Uh, Gasparilla Bowl, you guys are going against an SEC opponent, and you guys obviously are out of the AAC, but you guys had been ranked throughout some weeks in the season. So Tulane, people were expecting you guys to come in ready to play. And you came in and knocked some heads together, ended up going right through the offensive line, right past them who were trying to block you, and collided with the quarterback for a 10-yard loss for a big time sack early on in the first quarter. And then number two, you talked about at that Rice game, the strip sack, where you ended up coming over from the blind side of the Rice quarterback. He didn't see it, and you hit him so hard that that ball went flying about 10 yards away from him.
right,
So that one's number two. And then number three, that same game against Rice, the running back, you stuffed him in the backfield. He went, tried to hit a little juke move to find an open gap, and then you came and just laid him on the ground. So those three plays right there are for the segment that I like to call make that play. And you guys, obviously, we talked about all of what you've done. Your defense as a whole was one of the top in the conference, second in points per game with 20.6 per game that you guys allowed, second in yards allowed, second in sacks in the conference with 35 sacks on the season for the defense as a whole. What is it about this Green Wave defense that made it so high caliber to help you guys become one of the top teams in the conference?
right. Like I said before, we had high a high level of great athletes and great players. I think about I think on that defense, probably 10 all conference guys, if I'm just off my memory. Three on the D line, including myself, two linebackers, two corners, and one safety. So that's more than 75% of the defense right there. So when you have guys that are high level all conference players, all American players, and that are, working to get to the next level, I mean, it's basically a slew of NFL talent on that side. So I think that's what, you know, helped with that. And also, we had good coaching, that kind of put us in those positions. But ultimately, I think we took over as a defense and put us in those positions to make those plays.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys on the defense and on the team as a whole were returners from a year ago that knew the culture. You came in and blended in with the culture right away, obviously being the high caliber athlete that you are, but being a newcomer for the program, yet also being a guy that's proven himself at other stops, being asked to be a leader, to help the defense to be as good as they were. How did you kind of embrace that role as a newcomer for the program to still be a leader?
hmm Well, for myself, I think it's how you lead, right? Some guys don't need the lot of rah-rah, you yelling at them, and also understanding, hey, this is a winning culture. These guys already know how to win. So there's some leadership and some self-accountability within them already. So the best way I could lead is to lead myself and be a great example for the young guys, the new guys that came in. Hey, they see me getting extra work. Hey, let's get some extra work because the torch is going to be passed sooner or later. And it's up for them to keep that torch burning. It's up to them to keep that fire burning. So, for myself, when it's needed, I'll speak up, right? When sometimes it's not needed to speak up. Everybody was, it doesn't need to be said. A lot of things are understood. So just going from there and just understanding what my role was on the defense and on the team, just to bring a new level of, athleticism, hard work, and I think it translated and it blended well with the other guys on the team.
Hmm. Yeah, and you guys blending as well as you did led them to a great championship game and Gasparilla Bowl appearance once again. And you yourself on your career, 15 and a half sacks, seven forced fumbles, most of those just in the past 2 years alone. What is the work, the technique that you've really gone into to improve your game where you've been able to get into the backfield and create turnovers? Uh, I don't want to say so easily because obviously it's
Right.
hard, but you definitely make it look easy.
Right. Well, for myself, it starts in the beginning of the week with the film preparation, understanding who I'm going against, what type of guy is he, and also not letting him dictate what I'm going to be and what I'm going to do. I try to go into the game. I try to take control. I try to make an announcement quick, and with that, I'm able to be productive and dominant off the bat. But also just recognizing, hey, just if I'm reaching around the corner, I may not be free, but if I reach my outside arm, I may get the sack, I may get the strip sack, and just just having a tenacious effort to try to get the ball off of him. You just see a little bit of the football, you try to punch at it, you try to just get it out. You know, sacks stop the drive, strip sacks change the game. So I try to get as many strip sacks as I can and force fumbles as possible.
Oh yeah, there you go. And that obviously helped your team a whole lot. You yourself on the season as a whole, 30 total tackles, 19 solo tackles, four sacks, and two forced fumbles on the season. And now your college career is done. You're heading off, hopefully to the NFL level, going to be hearing your name called during the NFL draft here in a couple of months. What are some of the intangibles and skills that you have compared to some of these other pass rushers and athletes that are looking to hear their names called as well, that scouts should really notice that stick out about you to where they want to have you be a part of their team?
Right. I just say the versatility. I don't think many guys have a sack at every position on the D line. Like myself, I had a sack at nose, one tech, two tech, three tech, four eye, five, and then outside linebacker nine. So just my versatility, and then I also think it just shows that I'm coachable. That I'm able to be moved abruptly and suddenly and still be all conference guy. Third team to the coaches, but second team all field still, second team CFN. The CFN accolades are a blessing as well, but it just shows that hey, we can move him and put him in an adverse situation and he's going to thrive. So, I just think sometimes it's good to thrive. It's quote unquote easy to thrive when you're in a good position. Hey, I'm just going to play three tech every down, but I've shown I could thrive in really any situation and still be productive and dominant in that as well.
There you go. And obviously, you being such a coachable, such a high caliber guy that NFL teams are taking notice of, you've helped create the next generation of Tulane players. These guys are going to be stepping up next season. How would you say Tulane is set up entering next year? I know that they unfortunately lost their quarterback who's going to Duke.
Right.
Who's their running back is heading to Oregon. You and some other guys are entering the NFL draft. How are they looking entering 2025 to where they can still be dominant in the American Conference?
Right. I think, how they're looking is really up to them. I think you can't really look at who's there, who's not there, who's in a conference, who's not in a conference. I think if you just water your own garden and it's going to grow. So I think it's really, up to the guys on that team that are still in leadership positions. The coaches, they're still the same. They brought in some new coaches, they brought in some new players, but it's all about just who they are as a team, them growing through these all-season workouts, growing through spring ball, growing through this summer, fall camp, and then by the end of the season, it's time to put it together and, either, you know, the work of your labor will be fruitful or it won't. And then that's when you have the opportunity to learn from what you did and how to improve, or it's working and how do I build off of that. So I think good, bad, or indifferent, I think it's going to be a great testing and a great season for them.
Absolutely, man. Can't wait to see what they do. And obviously, a lot of the up and coming players personally, some guys that maybe I should be looking out for to have on the Slim Sports podcast. And I love having great guys like yourself on, obviously. And that's why I came up with a segment that I like to call Who's Up Next. In this segment, you just give me as many names as you feel like that I should reach out to, guys I should take notice of to have on the podcast this year, next year, and in future seasons as well. Two rules to this, first of which, whatever names you give me, you got to help me get them on, got to help me reach out. Number two, got to give me at least one name where they weren't with Tulane this past season. So somebody from another team, maybe someone you know that's pro, whatever name fits the bill.
All right. Uh, First, I would say Cam Hamilton, defensive lineman, third team all conference guy. I think he'll end up starting this year. I think Adonis Freelu going to be a good guy for them. Knows ended up finishing very well. I think Derek Graham's a good offensive lineman. We had our battles and throughout fall camp and throughout the season. First team all conference guy. Uh, really it's really a whole new offense and a whole new defense. Pro guy, I would say, Pat Jenkins. I played with him. He's training out here in Dallas as well with me. Uh, they have Bailey Despaney, safety, Jack Chinshu, safety, Rayshawn Pleasant, safety. So I think they're going to be in all great hands, and those are the guys who are really going to be pivotal for Tulane next season to help them continue their success and their what they're building the past couple of years.
There you go, man. And those are some great names for who's up next. And now that we've talked about who's up next, we got to talk about what's next for yourself. Obviously, we talked about how you're getting ready for the NFL level to take your talents to the pros.
Right.
What are you doing to really attack this off season to get yourself ready to make that jump into the NFL?
Right. So for myself, I'm training out here in Texas, at Belfort with Jay Taylor. It's just accumulation of work. I'm doing my speed, everything with him. I'm doing my position work with Dayton Jones, former first round pick for the Green Bay Packers, played at UCLA. So really just refining my skills and making sure I'm ready for, pro day, just making sure I run fast and I showcase, that athleticism that a lot of teams see on tape and just making sure that they see it on paper as well. So that's kind of what I'm doing this process, and I'm just going to enjoy it and continue to work hard.
Hey, there you go, man. No doubt all that hard work is going to be paying off. And here pretty soon, we're going to be seeing Adin Huntington jersey in my collection. Love getting these autographed jerseys from guys I've had on. And no, I definitely see you playing in the NFL, not just making a roster, but on the field, making a big time contribution, man, especially with your athleticism. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be on for this interview. Really does mean a lot to me.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate your time.